In April 2023, I was kindly hosted in Japan by the Pokemon Company International to attend the 2023 World Championships in Yokohama. It was a dream come true trip. I still can't believe it. Every day since coming back to the UK, I still think about my time in Japan. It's very much my Roman Empire. Pokemon invited myself and some other creators, hosted us for a week with an incredible itinerary, and then I was able to spend an extra week in Japan to do some things that I wanted to do and travel to other places in the country. My main two platforms are TikTok and Instagram, which are both for short form content, but as a result, that does mean I did end up spending most of this time filming this trip on my phone vertically. I also didn't have a lightweight vlogging camera, which I do now. Now I have a Sony ZV-E10, which is very helpful for filming. My biggest regret is not filming anything horizontally or for long form content on YouTube. I have more trips lined up this summer, which I will be vlogging for long form YouTube videos. But I did want to get my Japan trip on YouTube, so here is an omnibus of my daily TikTok vlogs, 16 days in Japan. I hope you enjoy it. I can't believe I get to say this, but come with me to Japan. Japan has always been my #1 travel destination, and today, because of posting silly little TikToks, I get to go to Japan. I am being hosted by the Pokemon Company to attend the World Championships in Yokohama, and I get to go to Japan. It is such a surreal statement, and I'm so grateful for everyone, but I boarded a flight with ANA. Nintendo Girl is also coming on this trip, and we happen to be getting the same flight together. We were flying non-stop to Haneda Airport in Tokyo. I happened to be sitting in the exit row, so I had about 3 meters of legroom, which was very good for a 14-hour flight. I had to browse through what was on this little screen. I ended up watching a movie I hadn't seen before. And throughout all the plane journeys I've been on since doing my TikTok goals to visit the Animal Crossing artworks, this was the first one where I actually got airplane food. And the food was actually good. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's an ANA thing or if it's just an airplane food thing in general. But I did watch the Mario movie as well. There's the Peaches song scene as well. And I happened to be watching it at the moment the plane crossed into Asia. This is my first time being in Asia, so it's quite historic, a new continent for me. The plane also had cameras to see ahead and below you. And we had our breakfast while we were above Beijing. Here are some of the clouds and another shot of the downward camera, which kind of looks like a Dodo Airlines island flyover to me. We did land in Tokyo at about 5 to 6 p.m. local time. First thing I saw were posters for the Yokohama World Championships. I was getting very hyped for this. I'm so grateful to be here as well. Thank you to the Pokemon Company, and thank you to everyone that supports me. I've collected my bag and exited the airport, making my way to Yokohama. But first, seeing this is one of the artworks I will be seeing while I'm in Japan, so stay tuned for that. Pokemon have such an incredible itinerary planned for the first week. And please stay tuned for vlogs here, content on IG as well. I made my way to the hotel, which was amazing. Yokohama looks so great. It was night and I was very exhausted, so I did go to bed straight away. But the view was incredible. Please stay tuned for so much of content. I can't wait to share this trip with you. I still can't believe that I'm in Japan, but this is day 2 and everything I got up to it. It's my first full proper day and there is a whole host of activities planned by the Pokemon Company. So please stay tuned because today was a very exciting day. I could barely sleep because I was so excited. When I first went outside, I first experienced the heat of Japan, which was very hot, but fortunately we went on an air-conditioned bus into Tokyo for the first stop, which was Sunshine City to the Mega Pokemon Center. I will be doing a whole video on this, but it was a privilege to be able to go into the shop before it was open to film some content. Walking around the store was magical. There's so much of stuff, so many plushes, and I of course got myself a little few things. Afterwards we also went to Pikachu Sweets before it opened, and I had a Pikachu waffle which was very good. I felt guilty, I'm sorry little one, but that was a very good waffle. I also had the Scarlet and Violet drink, so I chose the Scarlet one, which was orange slushy with some cream on top. But there was so much stuff to do here. The Pokemon Go shop as well was incredible. Shout out to the blue team. And again, this sells so many plushes. It's hard to not get them all, but I limited myself to certain characters. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of them in stock. We then left Sunshine City and Tokyo and visited a traditional Japanese tea house in Yokohama. This was such an incredible experience. It was such a beautiful place to visit, complete with tatami flooring and screen walls that we all have in a room on our houses on our Animal Crossing islands. We were shown a tea making ceremony from a professional tea master, which was incredible to see, and was then served to drink it. It was such a privilege to try these ancient traditions, and I really learned a lot from it. We were also given these bento boxes of sushi, which was so good and some of the best sushi I ever had. Afterwards, we had a little bit of time to walk around the park where the tea house was situated, and this park was beautiful. I will make a video on this again. I'll make a video on so many stuff, but just look at this. Ducks, turtles, fish. I literally felt like I was living Animal Crossing. Everywhere I looked in this park, I just felt like I was on an Animal Crossing island. It was probably the highlight of my day, to be honest, and I'm so grateful to have been able to visit here. Even this, look, a wooden bridge. Which villager paid me for that? Look at the shrines. I genuinely want to go back here. This was such a incredible place to visit. I'm so grateful to the Pokemon Company for organizing this and allowing me to experience this for myself. I did have some free time in the afternoon, so I explored Yokohama some more, met up with the Able sisters, and then went to the Gundam factory to see the show, which was incredible to see. The statue is giant, and this video is not doing it justice. If you are in the area, I definitely recommend it. I'm not even into Gundam, to be honest, but just to see this robot statue up close and personal was really special, and I definitely recommend it. Walking around Yokohama is such a special feeling. Everywhere is decorated with Pokemon stuff, and everyone is so nice and welcoming and excited for the event. I can't add any more clips, but we also watched the Pokemon Presents in the evening and were given an amazing goodie bag, which I'll make another video on. Mount Fuji was also showing in the distance from my hotel room. I'm excited for tomorrow, and stay tuned for individual videos from today. Today was an unbelievable day in Japan. It is currently day 3 on my trip to Japan, being hosted by the Pokemon Company to attend the World Championships. I started the day off with hotel breakfast on the 70th floor with the most incredible views of Yokohama that you could ever see. The hotel I'm staying at is the 5th tallest building in the whole of Japan, and the food here was incredible too. There was such a variety, from Japanese food to Western food, from ramen to poke bowls and omelets, with chefs cooking it in front of you as well. I'm so grateful to be here, and it was the perfect way to start a busy day ahead. Following on from breakfast, we made our way on the coach into Tokyo as we had a very exciting first stop. I can't believe I get to say this either, but today I was invited by the Pokemon Company to attend the headquarters of Creatures. After looking at the incredible views of the Imperial Palace just opposite from the offices, we made our way inside to the Creatures offices, which is so incredible to say. This was the entrance area with these giant sculptures of cards, and I'm very grateful to have been given a first sight, behind the scenes look into how Pokemon TCG cards are made and developed. We looked at how cards are played and tested, but also had a special activity with artist Yuka Mori, where we replicated one of her clay sculptures of Magnemite. I'm going to be doing a video on this, so please stay tuned, but I was very tired at this point, but had an equally exciting place to go to next, as Pokemon invited us to walk through the pop-up Pokemon Center taking place at the Pacifico Center for the World Championships. There was so much on display, everything was so cute, all the exclusives as well, and it was so great to see so many people there to celebrate Pokemon and celebrate the World Championships being in Japan for the first time. Everywhere in Yokohama is decorated with Pokemon, including the wheel, which had a Pokemon display every 15 minutes, as well as this giant light-up structure. In the evening, we went for food with the rest of the team. And to end the amazing day, I walked around the city and spotted even more displays throughout it. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you to the Pokemon Company for having me and making my dreams come true. It's day 4 in Japan, and I don't know how, but each day gets better and better than the day before. Today was an early start, and we got a coach to Shibuya. This was my first real time exploring Tokyo during the day, but our first stop was probably my favorite place I've been to so far, the Nintendo store in Tokyo, and I met Isabel, Timmy and Tommy. I can't believe it. I'm so happy to be here. It was such a vibe, and I spent so much money and I bought so many things, and I'm really happy. I'm going to do a whole video on this, everything I bought, everything I saw. So many Animal Crossing stuff, more than the New York one. It's the most Animal Crossing stuff I've seen anywhere. And opposite was another Pokemon Center with this incredible Mew statue. The queues here were massive, so I didn't get anything here. There was also a Jump store and a Capcom store. This shopping center is just filled with nerdy stores, and it's a really cool place to visit. I explored some Shibuya, went to the Shibuya crossing and crossed the crossing with Animal Crossing. Video on that coming soon as well. But it was a vibe. There's a lot of cool nerdy stores around here, and I managed to find something very cool that I'll do a video on, but it's another Animal Crossing thing. But Shibuya crossing, it wasn't actually that busy when I went, but it was very cool to see. I also got addicted to vending machines, claw machines, and gashapon machines. I tried to get this whoop. I was very close, but as you can see here, sadly, it was not good enough. After Shibuya, we made our way back to Yokohama for a very cool event. Worlds officially starts tomorrow, but as a very cool pre-Worlds event, I was fortunate enough to attend the Pokemon X NHK Symphony Orchestra special concert. This was around 90 minutes long. I didn't know what to expect, but I was completely blown away. It was so much of fun. The music, the visuals, everything was great. And I'm so grateful to have been able to see this. I'm getting very excited for the World Championships. Yokohama is getting busier each day, and I'm excited for what the next 3 days are going to have in store. After the concert, before Worlds weekend, I decided to go back to Tokyo to explore it some more. I went to Shinjuku for the very first time. I got some food, and then I went to the cinema. I will be doing a full video on my experience of visiting a Japanese cinema for the first time. The Godzilla statue was amazing. I also went with my mutual Nei, who also makes Japanese cinema videos, and that's what made me excited to visit it in the first place. I will be doing a whole video on this, so stay tuned. But I watched the new Studio Ghibli film, The Boy and the Heron. I didn't understand all of it because it was in full Japanese, but it was very good, and I wanted to watch it in Japan. So it might be day 5 of my trip to Japan, but today was actually day 1 of the Pokemon World Championships, and I'm very excited for it. After receiving such an amazing welcoming into the exhibition hall, I had a look around, especially at the stage, which was decorated so incredibly. It was decorated with a lot of landmarks that were related to the city of Yokohama, and a lot of people were getting their seats ready for the opening ceremony. I also had a look at some of the photo opportunities that were there, and they were all incredible and related to this traditions of Japan, as well as the cuteness of Pokemon as well. Just look at this Pokemon taxi, it was amazing. After this, I then took my seat for the opening ceremony, where an amazing traditional drumming ceremony took place. This was so great to watch, and what a way to start the World Championships 2023 of Pokemon. This is the first time the World Championships have ever taken place in Japan, and you can tell how excited everyone is for that reason. The exhibition hall was filled with people, and it was also great to see. I had this bento box for lunch before meeting Snorlax as well in the afternoon, which was such a treat. In the afternoon, I explored more of Yokohama, where everyone is just in full Pokemon mode, and it's such an incredible sight to see. I also tried a Japanese McDonald's, and I will do a video on this shortly, but this spicy bacon potato pie was very good, and I definitely recommend it. Even as the sun was setting, everyone was still out playing Pokemon Go, and it was all such an incredible atmosphere, and I'm so fortunate to have experienced this. Yokohama is such a beautiful place, and once again I want to thank the Pokemon company for hosting me this week. To end the day, I attended the premiere of the upcoming animated Pokemon series, Pokemon Path to the Peak. This was so wholesome, and I really enjoyed it. I believe it is being released on YouTube, and I definitely recommend it. It is so fun, and the cinema we watched it was so nice as well. Ended the day with some 7-Eleven, which is becoming a ritual at this point, but I'm excited for tomorrow. This was a sign that today was going to be a blessed day, as for the first time in my trip I woke up with a clear view of Mount Fuji. And today was blessed, as the whole day was filled with Pokemon activities. It started off really early by going on this massive cruise ship which was decorated just like the SS Anne. I made my way on board, which had 7 floors of activities, most of which consisted of being able to play Pokemon, either TCG or video games, on board in one of the various decks or seating areas available. It was such an amazing thing to see, and I will be doing an individual video on this, as well as the other activities that I also did throughout the day. My favorite part of the ship was the deck, where you had incredible views of Yokohama, and it really put it into perspective just how big this ship was. There was also a giant lapras in front of the ship, which was amazing, and the trash cans outside were grimiest too. It was so hot outside as well, and my next activity was entering Matsuri Park. This might be my favorite thing from the whole day, as the whole park was decorated just like a video game, and there was so many different activities that you could do, such as rolling a Voltorb through a little field of Pokemon in order to score points, but as well as Magikarp fishing, which I had to do. I felt like all the hours of playing Animal Crossing has led to this moment of me trying to fish for Magikarp. It was so surreal. I will be doing videos on this again more individually, but there were other hosts of activities too, as well as the stone puzzle that I did too. Pikachu, as well as the Paldea starters, also came out to do a dance, which was so much of fun. I just wish that the weather was a little bit cooler so I could enjoy it more. I don't know how these Pokemon are coping in this heat. After this, I made my way back into the exhibition hall and explored more of day 2. I got really close to the championship trophies and Pokemon cards, which was so cool to look at. I watched some of the competitive matches that were also taking place, and also played a lot of Pokemon Go, as there was an in-game event taking place too. There were so many opportunities to meet so many more Pokemon mascots, and this was honestly one of my favorite things as well. They are all so cute, especially this Lapras. I then went to the Pikachu parade, which was so cute. I didn't know what to expect, and this was even better than that. It was so great to see so many people queue out in the heat to experience this. It was so much of fun, and I'm so glad that I was able to see it. To end the day off, there was an incredible Pikachu dance show featuring a drone display, which was amazing. There was so much detail in these drones, and they created so many characters. This, I think, is my favorite thing that I've seen throughout my Worlds journey so far. Today was a truly special day, and I'm so grateful to the Pokemon Company for hosting me and allowing me to attend all these amazing activities. It's been so much of fun. I can't believe that it's already the last day of the Pokemon World Championships 2023. I may be losing my voice a bit, but it's been the most incredible week, and I'm so grateful to the Pokemon Company for hosting me. I started today by walking around Yokohama and looking at more Pokegenic displays, which is Pokemon featured art spread out throughout the city. I was then able to go back into the Pokemon Center and managed to find the Great Wave sleeves, which is the greatest sleeves I've ever seen in my life. I explored some of the play labs and had a look at this incredible TCG playing set, as well as met both Sandshrews as well, which was amazing. I was also fortunate enough to meet Masuda and Ishihara as well. I didn't get a video with them, but it was a very cool opportunity, and I'm grateful for the Pokemon Company for allowing me to have that opportunity. Most of the day was spent in the exhibition hall watching the finals. It's always such a great atmosphere to watch this with so many people as well. And as you can see here, this is the reaction to one of the winners winning the VG finals. Seeing the trophy presentation was so cool, but what was even cooler was the closing ceremony shortly afterwards. It was such a special experience seeing the people react to the news that was being announced, which included news for Unite, TCG and VG. This was the first Worlds ever in Japan, and everyone here made it such an incredible experience. I'm so grateful to the Pokemon Company for allowing me to be here and to experience this. Pokemon ended Worlds 2023 with the announcement of where Worlds 2024 will be taking place, and they had this special video to announce it. As you can see, next year it will be taking place in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I can't wait for it. I'm very excited for it, and I'm so grateful to have been able to be at Worlds this year. Again, thank you to Pokemon for hosting me and for making it such a special week. But this is not the end of my Japan trip. I am here for one more week, so stay tuned for a lot of content. I will be doing so much stuff, and I will be posting more vlogs and more stuff very soon, so stay tuned. So I'm a bit late, but this is day 8 in Japan and the start of the second week. Today I had to check out at the best hotel I've ever stayed in my life. It was a struggle to fit everything into my 2 suitcases, but the job was done and I left the hotel. I made my way into Tokyo and straight to the Tokyo National Museum to complete my goal of seeing every Animal Crossing artwork in real life. I'm not going to show which artworks I've seen, but there's 6 left before I started my Japan trip, and I'm hoping to see them all this week. This is officially the first museum in the 3rd continent, and it was such a pleasure to walk through this one. It was so great. They even had a recreation of the scary painting that you could do yourself. It was so cool. I will be doing more videos on this, as well as obviously the individual episodes for the artworks when they are released. As the museum was in Ueno, I also went to Ueno Zoo, where I thought there was a tanuki and I really wanted to see a tanuki in real life. I went in there, found out there wasn't a tanuki. I saw how some of the animals were and decided to leave straight away because let's just say it was not a vibe. I decided to leave my suitcases in my hotel in Yokohama, and as I went back to get them, it was also the perfect timing for the Pokemon parade. I did 140,000 steps last week and I really couldn't walk, but my plan wasn't to actually stay and watch this, but because I needed to just basically rest a bit, I ended up seeing this, and I'm so glad I did because it was the best thing I saw. There were so many Pokemon, so many characters. It was honestly amazing. I did a video showing all of the Pokemon. Please check it out. But there were so many, and there were so many Pikachu. This was such a perfect way to end off the week at Worlds. Again, thank you to the Pokemon Company for hosting me and giving me such an incredible week. This was such a way to end it. They basically did one walk forward and then they walked back, so each side of the road could see each character. But for the second half, I decided to go to this bridge that the media could go to, and it was such a great view. I then got my bags, struggled to take them on the train to Tokyo, checked into my new hotel, and honestly I was just so tired that I ended up just sleeping really early. So it's day 9 of Japan, but this might honestly be the best day of my life. There may have been typhoon warnings throughout Japan, but this was not going to stop me going to where I needed to go. I made my way to Tokyo Station and got my first ever Shinkansen, and prepared to travel around 2.5 hours to this town of Joetsu. The bullet train was amazing. It was so fast, the views were incredible. It's so surreal to just be on a train driving through the mountainside. But I did eventually make it to Joetsu. Fortunately, there were no disruptions with the typhoon. And the reason I'm here is very special because I'm going to an official Animal Crossing stamp rally at an aquarium in Japan. The town itself was a seaside town and it was so incredible to walk through it. I eventually made my way to the aquarium, which is called Umigatari. And of course I will be doing my own video on this, but just seeing the Animal Crossing stuff everywhere was incredible. Here is just some snippets from throughout the museum. They had plushes everywhere, the stamp rally of characters, the fish from the game. They had 35 fish from the game. It was honestly such a great place to be. I had so much fun, and the whole museum was playing the Animal Crossing Museum soundtrack as well. Just look at this Goldie stamp. It's just, I had so much fun here. I was here for a few hours. But yes, please stay tuned for the individual video of this. Each fish from the game also had a little Bladders info sheet as well, which was just incredible. And all the plushes over here as well. There was just so many Animal Crossing stuff everywhere. Because it was near the beach, I decided to go to the beach after, where I found this guy washed up. I then made my way back to Tokyo, which was another around 3-hour journey. And in Tokyo it was heavy rain, so I just made it back to my hotel and ended up just sleeping for the rest of the night. So it's day 10 in Japan. I'm not gonna lie, this trip is going a bit too quick for my liking. But I started off early today and made my way to the Imperial Palace Gardens in Tokyo. The gardens were very nice, but I'm not gonna say why exactly I was here, as I will be doing a video of this very soon. Today was also the day that I traveled from Tokyo to Osaka to spend a few days in Osaka, and I made my way to Tokyo Station. There was still the loomings of a typhoon and heavy rain, so there were a lot of disruptions. So I just sort of scoped out Tokyo Station and got a ticket for later. But in the meantime, I then went to Ikebukuro to check out some of the stores there. My friend Nate recommended some stores to check out which may have Animal Crossing stuff. And the first one I went to, which was a Mandarake, had this. This was from the Animal Crossing Ichiban Kuji, and it is a Tom Nook alarm clock, and the alarm clock is a DIY bench. It was incredible. I also went to K-Books, and they also had an Ichiban Kuji thing, but it was a massive towel which I couldn't really fit in my suitcase. So I did decide to leave it, and I don't really see myself using it anyway, whereas the Tom Nook thing was something I wanted the most. They also had loose amiibos. I thought they were all going to be 110 yen as Roswell was, but the other characters went up really expensive. I then went to Akihabara and checked out some stores there. This is where my hotel was, so I checked out of there, grabbed a taxi to Tokyo Station as my suitcases are very heavy and I still have a few days in Japan. But yes, the cancelled trains, the delays, this was becoming a big problem in the station. My reserve ticket was for 4 p.m. And at 3 p.m. the 9 a.m. train was leaving, but I was able to get on a non-reserved seat, which was very lucky. The Shinkansen from Tokyo to Osaka should have been 2.5 hours, but this journey actually took me 8 hours with so many delays, so I got back to the hotel and just slept. It is day 11 in Japan and today was the day. If you have been following me for a while, you know that I have been on a goal to visit every artwork from Animal Crossing New Horizons in real life. And today was the day that I finished that goal. I saw the Tanuki statue, which meant today was already off to a blessing. And although I was staying in Osaka and planning to stay in Kyoto this weekend, I decided to go to Kyoto today as I didn't realize it was 45 minutes away, and this is where the final artworks were located. Here they are, the gold screens. They count as 2 artworks, so I am counting them as 2 artworks. But they were in the Kenninji Temple in Kyoto. The temple itself was beautiful, and I will be doing a video on this, of course, and as well as the artworks. I was planning to only do this when I went to Kyoto this weekend, but wanted to get it out the way in case there were any problems. Thankfully there weren't, but it's such a relief and a privilege to be able to complete this goal. I did some gacha to celebrate and I ended up winning one of those bronzongs. I did a video on this ages ago as well. Like the British Museum had a bronzong and I won it in the gashapon and it was the last capsule in this machine. I then went to Nara, because it's like between Kyoto and Osaka, and I went to the deer park and I met Bo. Look at Bo. And also there's Bo with the pagoda that Gulliver gave me. This was such a vibe. There were so many deers. I didn't go into the heart of it, but I still saw so many deers. And look, there's Fauna. Fauna was there as well. But after Nara, I decided to go back to Osaka where I was staying. I made my way to Dontonburi, which is the street food street. It's giant. I thought it was big, but I didn't expect it to be this busy and massive. And it's definitely a must visit if you ever go to Osaka. I had some gyoza, which was amazing. And I had some takoyaki, which is what Zucker's head is from Animal Crossing. And this is the best I've ever had. It was delicious. The ones I've had in London come nothing to this. But it was so busy and I just took in all the sights. Like honestly, Piccadilly Circus is nothing compared to this. After this, I walked back to my hotel and the road was just busy the whole way there. It was so great to see. And I also tried this little snack, which is what Sprigatito has in this plush. So I was walking down the street in Osaka and I saw this leaf on the floor and it just reminded me of Animal Crossing. But this is day 12 in Japan and it was kind of a chill one today. I saw more of these Tanuki statues on my way to Osaka Castle and it just looked so cool in the park on the walk there. The actual castle itself was really nice as well, and it was so cool to be able to have the time to see it. The other day I bought some Japanese Pokemon 151 cards. I bought 2 packs and I decided to open them outside Osaka Castle, where I pulled this. I didn't have any sleeves with me apart from my amiibo cards, so Mew and Tom Nook are sharing at the moment. They're roommates. Yeah, I walked throughout the park on my way out. One thing I like about Japan is just everything mundane just has a cute aspect to it. That was just a regular rail and it has metal birds on it. I then went to the Osaka Pokemon Center and Nintendo store to get some final bits and pieces and see what they had. There's like no space in my suitcase, but I'm very glad that the Animal Crossing plush are no villages that are on my island. Like if this was Filbert, I would be getting Filbert, but it's Marshall, so I'm leaving him. I also went to another Mandarake because I want to see if they have any more hidden gems. I did find some Japanese Animal Crossing amiibo cards. They were like sort of these bundles for like a certain amount. I saw Apollo, so I grabbed the Apollo bundle. All the shopping centers and the skyscrapers in Osaka were so confusing, but I did go to some other stores like the Jump store and this Marvel store, and then I ended the day with some Pokemon flavored ice cream at Baskin Robbins near my hotel. I don't know how today was real, but I went to Universal Studios in Japan. I'm not a big fan of theme parks or roller coasters, and I can't remember the last time I went to one, but I was very excited for this and for the Super Nintendo World. I got here just before 7 a.m, but they actually started letting in people around 8 a.m. And like everyone else, I headed straight to Super Nintendo World, as you can get in without a reserved ticket. And to actually enter, you go through a warp pipe, and it was amazing. I obviously knew how it looked, but I still think that walking through the pipe, you don't actually know what to expect on the other side. As soon as you exit Peach's castle, you just hit with the view, and it's just incredible. I don't think I will get over this view. There is so much of detail in every corner, every wall. There's just so much decoration, and it made me so happy to be here. I could have literally spent the whole day here, but the first thing I did was make my way onto the Yoshi's Adventure ride, and the queue time was literally 5 minutes. This is a very nice ride, just a little train throughout the park, and it's so cool to see. I got a power-up band and interacted with so many things throughout the area of the park. There's a lot of mini games you can do and collect things using the app. I didn't do too much of this, but it was so fun whenever I did. I also met Toad, and I'm a big fan of mascot characters, and Toad was an amazing one. I did leave about 2 hours later and explored some of the rest of the park. I saw Jurassic Park, Jaws, I met Shrek. I then had some time before the parade, and I went into this Universal Monsters rock and roll show with Beetlejuice. I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't this. But I did have fun with it. I then saw the parade. I did a whole video on this with every character I saw. The parade was so much fun, and outside of Mario Land, probably my highlight of the day. After the parade, I explored more of the park. I'm not a big fan of roller coasters, so I didn't go on any, but I did go into as many immersive theaters as I could. Because I was by myself, I was in the single rider line, and the queue times were so short for these that I actually saw so much of stuff. I saw Jujutsu Kaisen, I saw Spider-Man, I saw a Sing musical, I saw the Minion House, and then I went to Harry Potter Land where I saw Hogwarts, and this was massive. I feel like it's bigger than the Hogwarts in London. I then saw a Waterworld show, which was like this whole like narrative action sequence. It was actually incredible. I then did get a reserved slot for Super Nintendo World, so went back in later, and I decided to go on the Bowser's ride. There was like an hour queue time, but because I was by myself, it was only 20 minutes. And this was incredible. It was an AR Mario Kart, and you actually feel like you're driving and you throw items. It was amazing. I then got my bags and took the Shinkansen to Kyoto, where I'm staying for the rest of the weekend. So it's the penultimate full day for me in Japan, and I think I'm finally feeling the effects of being out for 14 days in a row. I started the day quite late in Kyoto today, as I just rested in my hotel for a bit. The outside was so hot, it was like, feels like 43 degrees. Just when you went outside, you just couldn't breathe. I decided to go to the Red Shrines. This was so cool to see in real life, and all the stalls leading up to them were so nice as well. And there was so many Animal Crossing merch, like the Tanuki statues. Because of the weather, I didn't manage to do the full walk throughout these shrines. I was here for probably an hour, but I didn't go the full way. I didn't see as much as I could, but what I did see was so cool. And I'm glad that I had the chance to see this while I was in Kyoto. Also, everything here just reminded me of Animal Crossing. Like, I've seen so many of these as items in the game. After this, I made the probably unwise decision to walk 20 minutes in the heat, as I wanted to see the Nintendo global headquarters, which were located nearby. I didn't go by myself either. I brought Tom Nook with me, and we were gonna stay outside the offices until Nintendo Remember Animal Crossing exists. As you can see, here's the offices, but then again, the heat was unbearable, so we didn't stay that long. I then retreated back to the hotel, to the air conditioning, and just stayed there till the sun set. And then in the evening, I just found this ramen place, which was like, you know, faded menus, but long queues, and it was really good, and it was really cheap for a lot of food as well. So yeah, this is my last day in Kyoto. This was how I spent my final full day in Japan. So I woke up in Kyoto and got my last Shinkansen to Tokyo, where I was spending the rest of the day. I am going to miss the Shinkansens. They are so fast, so clean, so spacious. But I made my way to Akihabara, where I was staying for the final night. Saw some Sylvanian families. I was sad I missed out on the Sylvanian park, but these were cool enough. I then took the monorail and I saw the scary painting from Animal Crossing. And I made my way to a Ghibli exhibition, which was a pop-up road show. And I went there with my friend Nay. So this was a lot of like photo ops and recreations of stills from the film. They had this cool like night light as well as these creatures from Nausicaa. It was quite cool to look at, especially because I didn't manage to go to Ghibli Park or Ghibli Museum. Afterwards, I wanted to see some parts of Tokyo I didn't get the time to yet. So I made my way to Asakusa, which was the famous shrine, and it was so cool to look at. They had a pagoda as well, and I did my fortune as well, which is a very Animal Crossing thing. Shout out to Katrina. I will be doing a video on that, but I did get a good fortune, I will say that. So I have been blessed on my final day in Japan. But it was so cool to see this, and I'm so glad I had the time to. After this, I made my way to Tokyo Skytree, and I went to my final Pokemon Center off the trip. And it was so cool because I had this amazing Rayquaza statue with the Pikachu on top. And then afterwards, I went to the Kirby Cafe, as I booked the slot for this 40 days ago, and it happened to be on my final day. I really enjoyed this. I will be doing a video on this. The decor inside was amazing. The food was good, but I would say the portion sizes were a little bit too small. So afterwards, I did have another final meal, which was Kura Sushi, which had a Pokemon collab, and it had Tatsuguri, and the tuna one was amazing, so I had to get another one. But yeah, Tokyo, it was a very fun final day. Overall, an incredible dream come true trip, and I ended in Don Quixote. It's already here. This is day 16 and the last day in Japan. I can't believe it. This is like 5 a.m. and it was so bright out already, but I made my way to Haneda Airport with my 2 suitcases and my massive backpack. It was kind of a struggle, but the final struggle of my trip. The actual airport was so nice as well, and I didn't realize that the departure section had this massive Zen bridge. Which Animal Crossing villages paid off for this? I also love all these small details, like no ninja stars on the plane. But yeah, while at the airport, I made my way to the hunt for the Pokemon vending machine. Unfortunately, no Captain Pikachus or Pilot Pikachus. They only had some Quaxley keychains. There was also a 7-Eleven in the airport and no inflated prices on the stuff, which was amazing. I stocked up on some snacks and got ready for my 14-hour flight to Munich. I was doing a layover. My first time doing a flight with a layover as an adult as well, which was a nice experience. The food was quite nice as well. I ended up watching like 4 movies on this flight as well. There was cameras off the plane, which was quite nice, and I did not realize that this flight actually flew over the Arctic and the North Pole. So this was a view of the Arctic as we flew over it. It was so surreal to think and to see. And every time I looked at the flight map, just seeing like me go over the actual North Pole and the Arctic was just amazing. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I was literally fascinated by this, and there's just some more footage of the flight details because every time we were above this, I was just recording stuff. We did eventually land in Munich. The whole time I was on this flight was like chasing daylight, so I saw blue skies for about 25 hours consecutively. So in Munich, I boarded my second flight to London Heathrow. There was a problem with the flight, and they actually upgraded me to business class, my first ever time in business class. It's so awkward to sit in the front while everyone boards as well. I don't know why business class people like that. They also gave me free food, and this was a flight where no one else was even getting food, so that was a nice little bonus. But I was very exhausted. It was like 26 hours of total travel since I first left my hotel in Tokyo. But I did eventually land in Heathrow, and I got my bags, and it's good to be back in the end, back in the UK. Stay tuned for so much of Japan content to come. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for more videos in the future, and please consider subscribing. Thank you.